Alright, everybody is excited for Marvel Spider-Man 2. And which means I am too, guys. As a huge Spider-Man fan, especially because, this is literally the year to be a Spider-Man fan, guys. I mean, we got Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, we're getting Marvel Spider-Man 2. Then even Miles Morales has recently got a Spider-Man Iron Spider suit in the comics. So now, one thing I wanted to show guys is my wish list of all the suits that I wish for there to be on the game that haven't been on the game before for Marvel Spider-Man 2. What suits would I like to see? Now, one thing is we already got a reveal of some suits that will be available, of course, and the bigger attraction has been the Arachnite and the Miles Morales Shadow suit. So knowing that I had the Arachnite on my list is the kind of reason why I had to delete it off my list because I'm like, oh, okay, we're getting the Arachnite. Okay, I no longer have to wish for that one. So here we go, guys. So one thing I was thinking is that first we gotta have like the suits that are both the symbiote and the classic regular suit, like the ones that basically are like kind of like together. If you guys know what I mean. So let's start. First, I say we should start with the suit of Tobey Maguire. And yes, before you guys say, oh, but the Tobey Maguire suit was already on the first game. Yes, I know it was, but if we get that one, we should also get the symbiote suit. So we get that one alongside with the symbiote suit, Tobey Maguire suit. Which I think it'll be cool because it's definitely like quite unique and very cool suits. Of course, the one thing from the symbiote suit, I wish there was something different, that it wasn't just like the same suit reskin. But it still looks pretty good. Now the next thing I would like to see is basically the Spider-Man animated series from, of course, from the 90s. If you guys know that cartoon, and of course, if you guys haven't seen that, do yourself a favor and go and check it out. So I think he should have definitely both the classic and the symbiote suit from that series, and of course keep the static animation he has, which I would love to have that, especially because the so far from everything we got in so far, as far as the Marvel Spider-Man 2, like from the gameplay trailer, it literally gives me vibes from that show, like from this one moment.
Surprise, shocker? Let me tell it to you straight. I am invincible! Shocker! You can't escape me! I'll chase you to the ends of the earth!
Now, of course, that's already teased the reveal. Now, for the next one, I would love to see definitely is Spectacular Spider-Man. So, if you guys haven't seen that series, once again, do yourself a favor, go and check it out. It's the best animated Spider-Man series. And of course, I would like to see both, the regular suit and the symbiote suit from Spectacular Spider-Man in the game, which hopefully they can do this really cool thing. If you guys know, like, you know how at first it was just like the suit, it was just a reskin of the regular one in black when it was a symbiote suit. But then if you pay attention to one of the things that the show had on the hat, is how like all of the web lining it started like fading away, like as a sign of like how slowly Peter is basically being corrupted by the symbiote, which is something really interesting that they don't. Now, if you want just the symbiosis like standalone symbiote suits, now here, the options I would like to see is definitely the anti-venom suit. I think that would be really fun to see as a symbiote suit available for Spider-Man. Now, this one's definitely one that I think it would be great to see, and it's also from the Spider-Man the animated series from the 90s, and it is a Spider Carnage suit. Of course, if you guys haven't seen on the last two episodes, basically Peter saves the multiverse from one thread that happens to be another variant of him, that also a clone, who bonded with the Carnage symbiote. And it's pretty cool to actually see that. Now, this one is another interesting choice I decided to put. It's something from the comics, from the What If comics, which is the suit of what if Spider-Man kept the Venom symbiote. So that one I know before because I know there's two versions of that one where the symbiote like reduces Peter like ages him fast until he literally turns him into a husk. But then there's this other one where basically Peter keeps the suit, he's getting corrupted more and more, and starts like killing some of his villains. Like he even kills Kingpin, and then if you guys haven't checked the story, check it out definitely. It's for something gonna have to look into in the comic because of course Kingpin hires Green Goblin and Hobgoblin to go after his anime once Kingpin sees Spider-Man's going darker and becoming more dangerous. course, Kingpin eventually figures out his secret identity. And then, of course, when the Fantastic Four starts helping Spider-Man, Reed Richards sacrifices himself to destroy the symbiotes. Of course, one advantage that they have with the help of the Fantastic Four was the Human Torch, because you guys know how symbiotes are have a weakness to fire. And of course, in there you can see Peter takes, of course, he joins the Fantastic Four in honor of Reed Richards to honor his death. Now, for the standalone symbiotes, one last design that I have in mind would be the Agent Venom design. Of course, if you guys know, of course, in the comics, when Flash Thompson bonds with Venom, he becomes Agent Venom and actually has more control over the symbiote. And was able to fight alongside many heroes, and of course, even became a Space Knight, both Venom and Flash. Now, for just the regular suits, one of the suits, of course, what I would like to see is, of course, here's one, and that is the Amazing Spider-Man 2 outfit. So since we got in the first the Amazing Spider-Man 1 in the first game, we gotta get the second one because that costume of Andrew Garfield was pretty cool. And for the third option, of course, is the I think this was gonna be really interesting is the Tobey Maguire wrestling suit. I mean, the previous Spider-Man game had a wrestling suit there, and I figured, hey, we should put Tobey Maguire's wrestling suit because that was something really fun to to see in the movie. Now, my fourth option would be Chasm. And of course, if you guys don't know, that's basically when Ben Riley becomes a bad guy who became recently in the event of the Dark Web in the comics. And it's a really outstanding outfit and has a lot of detail. Of course, I will say I don't know how to feel about Ben Riley becoming a villain. I mean, it's something that has happened before, but I mean, the way they made him look was just pretty cool. It's like something I cannot pass out. Now, my fifth option is if you guys know on the comments recently, Peter's been working with at Oscorp, and his boss was also the reformed Norman Osborn, who of course he works for the reformed Norman Osborn now, who of course is basically now what's it called, reform, and he of course gives Peter a job and even gives him a new suit so he can be able to continue to be Spider-Man, which is one of the things that we see happening, and he even becomes the Golden Goblin. So basically, Spider-Man's Oscorp suit that Norman Osborn made for him would be really cool to see. I have that glowing spider and maybe the extra details on the arms. I would love to see that. Hopefully, there's like some cool gadgets, like as far as the suit power. Now, the next option I would love to see is I think this is a really good one because it's very important in the Spider-Verse storyline in the comics, and that is of course Captain Universe. You guys know there was a point where Peter had the powers of Captain Universe, and of course eventually he made a sacrifice, in which is why he now he ends up losing his powers, and it became a temporary thing because of continuity in the main Marvel universe. But of course there is a what if Peter kept the powers of Captain Universe, and it's something we get to see of course in the comics and on the Spider-Verse event from the comics. Now, the other one I would love to see is Spider Punk. So I know we had the previous Spider Punk before in the Marvel Spider-Man, but I'm not talking about just like the regular costume. I'm talking about like the Spider Punk costume from Across the Spider Verse. So if you guys haven't seen Across the Spider Verse, go and see that movie because it's a really good movie. It's definitely like right there as my favorite Spider-Man movie. So yeah, the Spider-Punk suit from Across the Spider-Verse with like its static animation would be great to see. And of course, the other option I have here is of course a Superior Spider-Man suit. I would love to see that because if you guys think guys are wondering like, oh, who's a Superior Spider-Man? Well, you get everything. It's basically when Doc Ock transfers his consciousness in Peter's body and he basically becomes Spider-Man. And basically when he was inside Peter and controlling him, basically he was Peter Parker. He tried to he basically wanted to ruin his name, but instead because of the memories of Uncle Ben, he decided to be a better Spider-Man, a superior Spider-Man. You guys know what I'm trying to say there. Of course, eventually, Doc Ock does the right thing and gives Peter, his body back because then he's starting to realize that Peter was all along the superior Spider-Man. But of course, we all know that Peter is not the superior Spider-Man, but the amazing Spider-Man. Now, my other option in here that I would love to see would be Spider-Rock. If you guys know in the 90s cartoon that I mentioned earlier, there was one of the cool Peter Parker variants that was That was basically a Spider-Man who get like the arms and goggles of Doctor Octopus, which it was really cool to see, like something unique and as far as seeing an alternate variant of Spider-Man. So that's definitely another one. Now, last but not least, guys, over here, I actually want to say one of my personal favorites for last, as far as like suit and variants of Spider-Man, is the Tom Holland classic suit. And no, I'm not talking about for No Way Home. I'm not talking about the one with the golden spider. I'm talking about the one that he wears, of course, at the end of the movie, because it's a really very unique and awesome design that is pretty accurate to the comics. It really makes it look like very comic accurate and also unique for the movie and very cinematic, pun intended. And yeah, that right there, guys, is my list of course, of all the suits that I would like to see for Peter Parker. Of course, let me know in the comments what other suggestions you guys have and what other suits you would love to see in the game that haven't been before, that we haven't seen before. Let me know, of course, in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe and turn on your post notification to be notified of any other new video. And of course, you guys leave a like. I'll definitely do, of course, a wish list for Miles Morales suits because I have a few ideas. So yeah, let me know about that, guys. And I'll see you guys later. Peace out, guys. Oh, it's Miguel O'Hara.